What is going on, everybody? It's so good to see you tonight. What you just saw right there on your screen, that's DNOW weekend. Now, you do not want to miss this. If you've been like, I don't really know if I can go, I just don't know if it's gonna work out. You need to find out if it's gonna work out because we'd love to take you. All that you just saw right there is gonna be included in the DNOW weekend experience at Fort Caswell. We do have a few spots remaining. We would love to take you. We're gonna be taking a lot of students to this thing. I'm super excited about it. If you got any questions, make sure to ask a leader. Make sure to come find me and ask me, but you need to sign up. We are back. We're talking about Lifelines, continuing the series all about lifeline friendships, which are basically real friends. They help you out with the real stuff in life. So far, we have concluded that lifeline friends let us be real, and lifeline friendships help us grow. So there's this old show that I remember my parents used to watch, and it's called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And I know, we all want to be millionaires. And there were these things in the game that would help you out called lifelines. There were 3 really important lifelines. The first one was called the 50-50, and that would narrow the answers down from like 4 answers you could pick from to like 2 answers, so you have a better shot at getting it right. But the other 2 lifelines were really important. One of them was called Phone a Friend. You could pull your phone out, you could call any person in the world that you thought would know the answer to the question that you were on. But there was also another clue, and this one was called Ask the Audience. And so you would take a poll of all of the people who were sitting there live watching the game show. It would send in the results of every single person in that audience because they got a chance to answer the question on the device that was in front of them. And I think it's this really cool picture of how lifelines work. They allow us to phone a friend when we're in a time of need, when we need some help, when we think somebody else might know the answer to a question in life that we're facing. But sometimes we got to surround ourselves with so many people and get input. It's almost like we're asking the audience. We got lifeline friends in our lives that allow us to go to them when we need help. One of the things I love about the Ask the Audience lifeline is that you kind of feel alone when you're sitting there and everyone's staring at you and you don't know the answer to the question. It makes you feel kind of isolated and alone. But you ask the audience, all of a sudden, everyone in the audience becomes your teammate. People that you didn't even really know that well are now working alongside of you to help you figure out the answer. Have you ever been afraid of being alone? I'm alone in my house right now, and it's kind of scary sometimes, right? You hear this noise and all of a sudden you're like, am I gonna die? Tonight we're gonna talk about what to do when we feel alone and how lifeline friends can come into our lives to help us with isolation and loneliness. There are so many areas of life where we can get lonely, where we can feel isolated, which is why I created some of my top reasons that we experience lonely situations. In life, it can be very lonely when we feel like our family and friends are changing. We lose someone that we love. When we hear about tragedy in the news, when we have to change schools, when we have a secret, when someone we love is sick or hurting, and finally when we're unsure about the future. Lucky for us though, lonely situations don't have the final word. In fact, today we're gonna look at a guy, maybe you've heard of him, by the name of Jesus, and he was no stranger to lonely situations, but he also wasn't a stranger to great friends, to lifeline friends. So let's take a look at a story from the Bible that talks about loneliness. I think we can learn a few things that can relate to our own lives as well. We're getting ready to read We're getting ready to read a story from John chapter 11. But before we do that, I gotta set the scene for you. So we have a crisis going on. One of Jesus' friends, my boy Lazarus, has died. Lazarus' sisters, Mary and Martha, ring any bells? They send this message to Jesus saying that they want Jesus to come visit Lazarus because they're scared. At this point, they just think he's sick, but in the actuality, he's died. Jesus tells all of his disciples that he wants to go back and visit Lazarus, but the disciples warn him because Judea, where Lazarus is buried, is a place that Jesus just came from, and while he was there, a bunch of crazies tried to kill him. The Jews that lived in that area thought that Jesus posed a threat to authority and to their positions of leadership, and so the disciples are like, hey Jesus, man, you remembered what happened last time we went there? These people tried to kill you. Now you're saying you want to go back? No. But in Jesus' head is something more than just physical safety. He's thinking about his friends. I'm sure Mary and Martha were feeling very isolated. Jesus understands this, and so he wants to make sure that they're not alone as they're going through this difficult loss. John chapter 11, verse 7. This is what it says. Finally, Jesus said to his disciples, let's go back to Judea. But his disciples objected. Rabbi, they said, only a few days ago, people in Judea were trying to stone you. Are you going there again? Jesus replied, there are 12 hours of daylight every day. During the day, people can walk safely. They can see because they have the light of this world. But at night, there is danger of stumbling because they have no light. Then he said, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but now I will go and wake him up. The disciples said, Lord, if he is sleeping, he will soon get better. They thought Jesus meant Lazarus was simply sleeping, but Jesus had meant Lazarus had died. So he told them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there, for now you will really believe. Come, let's go see him. Thomas, nicknamed the twin, said to his fellow disciples, let's go too and die with Jesus. If we all die, at least we're gonna die together. That's kind of the mindset of Thomas right now. I mean, isn't that somebody that you want on your team? Don't we all need a friend who, whenever we're facing a difficult situation, we got someone in our corner that says, man, I'm in this with you even to the point of death. If we die, at least we're gonna die together. Jesus and Thomas show us something really valuable in this story. That's when you stick together, you feel less alone. There are moments in life that make us feel alone. They make us feel isolated and we don't think anyone else is watching us or for us or with us. But the good news is we don't have to stay that way. Godly friendships never leave you all alone. There's some people that, I feel like that person never feels alone. They got it all together. They're great. They're a hero. What's the name of that guy who never... Batman. I saw this video the other day of these people in Canada who were raising money for a charity, and 524 people all dressed up as Batman. They broke the Guinness World Record for most people dressed up as Batman at one time. It was about helping people, but I think of somebody like Batman, he's got the cape, he's a hero, he can literally, do anything pretty much. So, the next time you're feeling alone, isolated, just remember, even Batman needs a lifeline friend too. I hate this, but I feel like so many times the people who need help the most, or the people who are isolated, or the people who feel so lonely, they just push other people away when they really need to pull people closer to them. Lifeline friends are friends that don't leave other people alone, but they also recognize when they need other people to speak into their life. Reality is, there's just going to be times in life, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, that life feels lonely. But God has given us Himself, God has given us people around us so that it doesn't have to stay that way. Our squad is literally designed so that people can find a place to belong. Middle school students, high school students who are dealing with tough stuff, who are dealing with feeling unworthy, who are dealing with feeling lonely or not good enough, they can come here, they can be their true, real, authentic selves, and they can find the lifeline of community that God has designed them to have. That's powerful. Didn't really go how I thought that was gonna go, but godly friendships never let you feel all alone.